And so early one morning in the beginning of September, we left Johannesburg and drove down 13 hours heading south. And I remember pulling into the mountains, the Amatoli Mountains, just as the sun was setting. It was gorgeous, stunning sunset, and not a soul in sight, not a car or anything. And we had very little fuel left in the tank, and I was really worried that we were not going to make it. But we pulled into Hogsback and it was dark already, so we couldn't see the place, but somehow managed to find our cottage. And yeah, our adventure had begun. And so from day one, uh, we, we, we kept meeting such interesting and fascinating people and healers and artists and musicians and explorers and adventurers of all kinds. And unexpectedly, I didn't even know Hogsback was such an artistic and vibrant and what do you call it, mystical kind of place. And yeah, so first we discovered this awakening the shift, power of presence, mindfulness kind of seminar. And then the woman with the wolves and the misty pictures, she turned out to actually be a shaman in the Native American shamanic tradition. And so we went to her for her, what do you call it, shamanic healing journey. I keep an open mind and an open heart, and I try to really engage with whatever it is, because this problem is so multifaceted that you can't just get stuck on one type of, like, a cognitive kind of solution, intellectual way of thinking about your problems. There's so many different approaches and so many different ways to engage with these different parts of ourselves. In fact, the shadow material, the stuff in the unconscious, wants to reach out to us symbolically. So, like, before that, my interest was really in Jungian psychology, because that's, for me, that was the most appealing modality that helped me to unpack the unconscious, the contents in the unconscious. And in this individuation course that I went to with the Jungian Society in Johannesburg, like, that's something I do when I'm interested in something. I look up the people and I try to engage with them, the community, and get involved and do stuff. And so, like, this, what was it, like a 3-month individuation course with a group, and exploring more about Jung and psychology and that, but more very practical, like exploring the stories, the childhood stories that were most meaningful to you. And there were so many really fascinating interactive applications, and I loved it. And but there was this thing of active imagination. So, like, we were also paying attention to our dreams. And so this dream pattern that I had of, like, it was a nightmare, like a really terrifying nightmare that I've had since my teens, where in the dream, I think they call it, what do they call it? There's a name for it. I don't know, but it's like where you're in this liminal state, like between waking and sleeping, and you feel this terror, and you paralyze, sleep paralysis, I think they call it. So you can't move, and you're in a state of extreme terror, and it feels like you're dying. And then in many of the dreams, there's some kind of apparition there in the middle of the room or in a corner or something, or doing something to you. And so this dream used to plague me and come from time to time. So in the middle of this individuation course, I had a dream where, like, the normal tendency is to be afraid of this thing and to just be stuck in the terror of it. But in this dream, it was a very short dream, but I just had this kind of a turning towards it, like, and I saw myself, and then I woke up, and there were some other similar dreams. I mean, what can you call it? Versions of that nightmare, because the really engaging with this shadow material is starting to shift, and giving me access to that content, and like everything that was going on with my wife was forcing me to face the unconscious. So active imagination, they did this active imagination with us where you have a guided meditation, and then you're guided to a box, and there's something in the box, and then your unconscious gives you a symbol. And so mine was this golden ring, which came towards me, and then it suddenly choked me. Like not physically, like it's just a kind of like imaginative vision. You just spontaneously have this seeing feeling. And then the other one was in this lake, in the dark, in the waters, you see this thing. And so first I saw a key, also a golden key, and I reached for it. It became a gun, a small black handgun, and then it came closer towards me and became this light, like a strobing, spinning light. So yeah, so I had been primed for, what could you say, imaginative, symbolic dialogue with my unconscious repressed content and material.